Welcome back into episode 48. So in last week's video, you saw me learning how to build hard brake lines and doing the bubble flare. In this week's video, what I want to try and do is get the master brake cylinder back on the car, fit those hard brake lines, and ultimately chase it all the way down to one of the calipers. That might be a bit of a stretch, but that's where I'm aiming for. I also want to tidy up this side of the engine bay, which is pretty tatty. I've done the other side and it's this side's turn next. So as ever, please click the like button, click the subscribe button, leave me comments. I love getting comments, replying to those and discussing all the bits I do. But for now, let's just dive into the video and see how I get on. I'm very tentatively trying this brake line I made. And to be totally honest, I don't even know if I got it around the right way. So a bit of this, okay, yeah, I've guessed, maybe not. A bit of this is just checking whether it's the right way round. You probably struggle to see from there exactly where I am, but it actually looks like it's a reasonable fit. What I need to do is thread it around the back of some of this pipe work here, like that. Basically just want to check if I'm going mad before I go making all the lines up. I've made a couple. As you've seen, I just want to at least try one in and see, yeah, okay, I'm not crazy sort of thing. I think we know I'm crazy, but make sure how crazy, I guess, is the question. Straighten it out a little bit on one side, but it comes around the firewall really nice, comes around, basically meets in about the correct place. Right, so obviously I took the master brake cylinder off. I had to get these little red caps out and I couldn't do it in situ, so I took it off, took the caps out. I'm just going to place it back in there now, again sort of fairly loosely, because I just want to see how this brake line meets up with the end of it and check whether I'm a million miles off or whether no, it actually is pretty good. Right, so that'll go there. And this brake line, just want to make sure whether it's bent correctly at this end. I mean, it matches the original pretty good, but you never know. So that's pretty tricky actually to get in there. So what I could do is actually fit the line out, because it'll fit. It will actually squeeze in there if it was screwed into the end of the master cylinder. Okay, so I've bent this out a little bit here. Let's just fit this in again and see if it's going to work. I think I'll actually wind the pipe on the end first and we'll see. Okay, yeah, I can get that in there. I'm not going to do it up because I can see that it clearly will go in. And that looks pretty decent, I think. I've still got this line to make up which goes into there, so I'm going to take that one off next. I'm just purposely bending it back so it's approximately in the right place. Right about there. So when I create it, it'll be, you know, largely the right size, right place. Okay, it's looking pretty good. I think I can actually put the brake cylinder on now because not much more is going to change. I've got the other brake line here that I should be able to sort of feed down. Just again, just sort of tentatively put it in place. Let's pop it through the wing. That goes through like that. And it probably needs just to rotate a little. Right, that's about right. Perfect. And then that would just screw on there. Yeah, that looks pretty decent as well. Not unhappy with that. Obviously, I just need to lift it up and over like that just to fit it in, but that will go no problem at all. So we just need to make up this one. So let's strip that off the car and I'll quickly go make that one up. And then we're back over with the brake pressure regulator, fitting the ones over that side. I think with that added confidence that I can get that cable on, that brake line on now, I'm going to put the nuts on this. I was just going to use my ratchet spanners to prove I've actually got some, because a lot of people mention why I don't use ratchet spanners. I don't have a 13mm ratchet spanner apparently, so I won't be showing you that I do have one, because I don't. Right, with everything stripped out over that side, it's nice to see it's all pretty solid behind there. The brake pressure regulators both come out. They look identical, so I'm going to just tidy those up. I don't know if there's much I need to do with them, whether they need rebuilding or what, but for now what I'm going to do is just sort of clean them, give them a coat of paint, stop them going rusty, and then the rest of this engine bay here I'm going to clean up, basically spray the same as I did the other side. There's a lot less things attached this side, so it should be a lot easier, but that should look a lot better. So yeah, it's pretty good really. I've taken off the other brake line that came around the firewall there into the regulators. I'm going to remake that one probably this week and get that back on. But yeah, right, as you can see, I've been pretty busy in the engine bay lately. I've largely stripped this entire side and sprayed it in what I'm proposing will be the final colour. Obviously I've taken the wiring loom down, the brake pressure regulators are off, they've been tidied up, they're sitting here ready to go back on the car. Well, if I don't drop one. I've remade most of the brake lines that go over here, still the two original rear ones which I need to deal with shortly. And what I'm going to do now is start putting things back together. I need to look at these two, you might be off camera, but the two ballast resistors I think they are. I need to test those and work out what I'm doing with them. There's a bit of a rip here in the wiring loom. Now from what I can tell everything's okay, there's no spliced wires. So I think what I'm going to do is reseal it. Just looking at why it was cut, strange. I'm going to reseal it with the tape that sort of bonds to itself. And work my way along. I've done a little bit here just as a test piece, just to see what it's like, and then I'll mount it back into the wing there. And I've bought some new clips, these sort of not Jubilee, what they're called, pull ties. I bought a couple of new ones because I had to cut, or someone actually already had cut them off. There's one there that's cut, and that'll mount the wiring loom back neatly, and then I can put the brake pressure regulators back in and start connecting up all of the brake cables, brake pipes, which I'm really looking forward to, because it's been quite good fun building those. But I kind of want to wrap that up now and get that all tidied away. I also have the coolant, sort of I guess it's like a top up or whatever you call it, bottle to go in the corner there, which I need to tidy up still. I need to have a proper look at that. But first I think we'll do the wiring loom. Right, because of the nature of this tape and the way it bonds itself to itself, I can pretty much start anywhere and just sort of work my way along. I've not tried it yet, as you know, that's what I like to do live. So you see the problems you're going to face. So let's just try it and see what happens. My theory is, wherever I start is fine. And I'm just going to go around like this, basically wrapping it like, reminds me of the old days when I used to wrap your handlebars on your bike, on push bike. Right, with the wiring loom fully wrapped, what I'm going to do now is attempt to put it back into the these pull ties. Now some of the existing pull ties are still serviceable, but on the occasion I've had to buy these new ones, and they're pretty good. I mean, it took me a while to find ones that actually push through the firewall or the wing and then loop around correctly. Let's check which way around, so it goes that way. They're not quite as thick as the originals, but they're not bad. They're certainly going to do the job. It's not bad. Now these extra bits coming off, I've left them as is. Depending on how things go, I may wrap them as well. Okay, so first off, I'm just going to try and get it in position so I can make sure where it goes, and then we can work out how to attach it in. I mean, it's obviously just a couple of bolts, but I can tell straight away this is going to be one of those tricky jobs because I can't get my hand in the back there, I don't think, no. So, comically, when I undid this, there wasn't actually a bolt in the back. I'm not saying I'm going to follow that, but it is an option. Let's get one bolt in the front, like that. Right, let's start discussing the brake pressure regulators. So I've got these bolts in just to stop any sort of brake fluid flowing out. Bolt up there. So I'm going to try them in for size and try and sort of remind myself how it all goes together. As I remember, that one comes in the side, so this doing it the right way around, putting the expansion tank in first, but maybe I wasn't. So I'll just nip them up a little bit tighter. I'm checking where the pipes plug in. This one needs to rotate round to there for this one to go in. That one's correct. Then there's a couple more little bit extras to come in there. Right, so now we're just putting the brake pipes back in. I'm just trying to work out exactly where each one goes. So this is the top one, comes from the master cylinder from the end, plugs in there. This goes straight into the side of the brake regulator there, which I've left the pipe really long so I can cut it to the right length. And what I want to do is kind of mark that up and work out exactly the length I need now, which I haven't got a pencil, so we'll do that in a second. What I can also do is start sliding this one in. So this is the one that is in the lower part. Yeah, I think this should actually bolt onto the mount there, which it looks like I've probably got the rotation of it slightly off. It could just rotate round. I think I'll get the original pipe and just try it there just to make sure. But from memory, this fitting should be on that nut, on that lug there. I don't want to just bend it into position now. Well, one, I've got a pipe in the way, but two, I just want to double check that before I go doing it. Otherwise, that'll fit in there fine. I'm sure it needs to be tucked in, so we'll do that in a second. And while we're in position, I'll just look at how it comes around the firewall. Looks good, and that looks like it'll fit really neatly straight into the master brake cylinder on this side. I'll just pop it in now actually. Have a look what we've got. Right, there we go. Yeah, it's not bad. I'll give you a zoom in so you can see what I've got. And there we go. I mean, that's pretty much, I've got the two rear lines to do, which I've worked out what I'm going to do now. I'm going to replace them because I realise it's the flexible hoses that go into the calipers. So I can replace these all the way to the flexible hoses, put new flexible hoses in, and put them to the calipers, knowing that when I come to the rear suspension, I just have to do the calipers, and I've got the flexible hose, so it's easy. And I've got one more line here, which I've got somewhere floating around on the bench, which comes from here, goes through the little hole here, straight to the front caliper this side. And that's it. That'll be all of those done. I can now take this out of the way. This is the previous one, which I'm going to bend out of the way because it's easier. And I don't care anymore about it. I've got no value. I can dump over there. And we're good to go. Really pleased with that. So finally we're coming round to the front wheel arch. This is the driver's side front wheel arch. The hard brake line comes down from the master brake cylinder through the side of the engine bay to here, and the actual flexible brake cable sort of fits into this fitting here. What I need to do now is bend this down and then cut it at the right length so that it meets up with the flexible line. So let's do that bend now, and then we can take it away and bend it and put a fitting on the end. Clip in. Right. So we're looking at something like that. So this just needs to bend down and meet there. It should be pretty straightforward. Okay, so that is now correct, I believe. It's attached to the top, attached to the bottom, into the flexi line, and that will go into the caliper. Well, so near yet so far. I've got all the way down to the calipers here. I can't put the calipers on because there's all of the other bits I need to put on, including the hub, which I just realised. So calipers won't be going on just yet, and I've run out of time this week. So I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to next week be taking on the hubs and the wheel bearings and everything, which will then lead to those calipers going back on, connect up the brake lines, and we're golden. But for now, let's leave it there. Thank you for watching as ever, and I'll see you next week.